class, I want to talk to you now about mechanics. And there's three main areas that I'd like to look at that I've seen in your papers. One is making sure that you've got complete sentences. I've seen a lot of fragments, and so I just want to draw your attention to that. A complete sentence is a noun phrase plus a verb phrase, and that equals a complete sentence. So let's look at a couple of examples. So right here we've got, I was terrified and my heart began to thump so intensely. Okay, thump so intensely is not a complete sentence, and I'll tell you why. It's because thump so intensely is because it is a verb phrase, and there is no noun phrase in this sentence. The question is, what began to thump so intensely? And the subject of that sentence would be heart. The heart began to thump so intensely. And so if we added my heart to this sentence, it would now become a complete sentence. So let's go ahead and do that. My heart began to thump so intensely. Now, looking at the sentence before that, we've actually already said this. So it's a bit repetitive for me to say this again. So one way to kind of do this, to kind of get across the intensity of it, still being kind of dramatic, is to use something called the em dash. And so right here, we've kind of combined these two sentences. I was terrified and my heart began to thump intensely. So we've got this kind of em dash gives us the sort of dramatic pause that we want while keeping this a complete sentence. Here's another example. She tried to scream and she couldn't, despite the intense pain she felt, despite the cold and the rain. Again, we've got another kind of dramatic effect here, despite the cold and the rain, kind of this idea of sort of listing things. Now, this is not a complete sentence, again. So we want to make this a complete sentence. So again, I'm going to use the em dash. She tried to scream, but she couldn't, despite the pain, cold, and rain. So what we've done here is actually made a list of things, and this actually ended up shortening this section, which is always a good thing. You always want to be more specific with less words whenever possible. It's always easier to understand. So I just wanted to draw your attention to that. I also want to mention that a complete sentence never starts with a conjunction. I've seen this many times in your papers. You see how we've started this sentence with the word but. As it's used here and as a conjunction, it doesn't make sense. Now, if I deleted this word, this would be a complete sentence. I keep trying. Okay, we've got I, which is your noun phrase. This is your subject, I, and then keep trying would be your verb phrase. Keep trying. So I keep trying would be a complete sentence. But when we add a conjunction, although now it's not a complete sentence anymore because you're inferring that this is a cause and effect relationship. Although I keep trying, comma, blah, 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 blah. So this is not complete. But when we take away the conjunction, it becomes a complete sentence. So you could either take away the conjunction, even though this feels a little disjointed. So what I would do is combine these two sentences. Life beats me down at times, comma, but I keep trying. Now we have a complete sentence. I hope that makes sense. The other thing I wanted to mention is formatting titles. I've seen this, almost everyone has had this issue, so I just wanted to make it very, very clear. First of all, titles are always capitalized, so you should always capitalize every single word that's in the title, unless it's a word like a or of or the. So we've got hills like white elephants, midterm break. All of these words will be capitalized. Now, short stories and poem titles will be in quotation marks, like I've got them here. Hills like white elephants, midterm break. Not italicized, just written regularly and with quotation marks. But a book title or a drama or a movie title will be in italics. So you're going to select it and then hit the italics button right up here. I hope that makes sense. And then the last thing I wanted to bring your attention to is comma splices. This is another very common error that I see in writing. Semicolons separate things. Most commonly, they separate two main clauses that are closely related to each other but could stand on their own as sentences if you wanted them to. Well, whoops, I got a period missing there. So here's an example. I have a big test tomorrow. I can't go out tonight. The two clauses in this sentence are separated by a semicolon and could be sentences on their own if you put a period between them instead. So here's what it looks like with a period. I have a big test tomorrow. I can't go out tonight. You could also use a coordinating conjunction with a comma. So you could say, I have a big test tomorrow, comma, so I can't go out tonight. Another option is to use a semicolon followed by a conjunctive adverb and a comma. I have a big test tomorrow, semicolon, therefore I can't go out tonight. Now this is what I see most often. I see, I have a big test tomorrow, comma, I can't go out tonight. See how this lit up green as soon as I did that? That's because Microsoft Word knows this is not a correct use of comma. And my guess is that when you're writing sentences like this, you're also seeing this green. And that is a red flag to you that needs to be changed. And so Microsoft Word makes it very, very easy for you to understand what needs to be changed. So the reason that we cannot use a comma here is because this is a complete sentence and this is a complete sentence. And when you have two complete sentences that you're putting together, a comma just simply is not strong enough to combine them. So you can, like I say, either put a period, you could put a semicolon, or you could add a comma and so, or a semicolon and a word like therefore, comma, to combine those two thoughts. So keep that in mind as you're writing. Make sure you're using commas correctly. And when you're using them with two independent clauses, otherwise known as complete sentences, make sure you've got punctuation that is strong enough to make those two things go together.